The MAC3 starts here at the Nürburgring. The manufacturers against the clock. This is 3 cars from the manufacturer teams running as a team time trial, uniquely here at the Nürburgring, over a single lap from a standing start, and not a single lap of the modern Grand Prix circuit either. A single lap of the gesamte Strecke, the whole track, the Grand Prix circuit, and a full lap of the Nordschleife, the Northern Loop, the 1927 track, which is still used predominantly for the Nürburgring 24-hour race this weekend, and also, of course, for us here with the World Touring Car Championship. Martin Haven, Richard Coleman in the booth, Alex Le Gui down in pit lane and on track. First of our 2 teams, because of a crash for Ugo Valente in qualifying. His car is badly damaged, and therefore there are only 2 remaining Ladas, not enough to make up a team of 3. So Lada have been forced to withdraw from the MAC3, and that means that Honda will go head-to-head with Citroën in what has been a bit of a tough on and off-track weekend for Honda. They could really do without any major snafus here. Norbert Michelis, Rob Huff and Thiago Montero left the pit lane, and Richard, they go around the Grand Prix loop, get the tyres up to temperature, get everything ready, and then we'll come back and start 3 abreast on the start-finish line.
Absolutely. I think it might be a slightly cautious approach, as we were saying before, Martin, from Honda. Without Lada being here, they know they're guaranteed to get the second points, or points per second, should I say. And, you know, therefore, I think there's no sense in these guys risking the car. Rob Huff had a very big accident yesterday, and it meant that the whole crew were there all night. They didn't go back to the hotel last night. And I'm sure they'll be keen to just try and have normal preparations tonight and get the guys to bed ahead of a long race day tomorrow. Yep,
absolutely right. And the team will certainly relish getting back to their hotel. Now, the finish line here is a very long way from the start line. The finish line is almost as you exit the final corner, just where the big tower is there. The finish line is right here. However, the start line is a long way further up the pit straight, and so you saw there that Norby was sort of slowing down, and then, oh, hang on a minute, there's no one there to mark the spot where we start. That is where they will start. So we'll start at the start line, and they will come back to the finish line, and time will elapse there, I imagine. And on other tracks, we do 2 entire laps, so if they start on the start line, that's where they finish as well. Now, the nominated time-setting driver, who will be the 3rd of the 3 cars, is Norbert Michelis. 3 Hondas on the line, ready for the start of the single lap MAC3 here at the Nürburgring. Rob Huff closest to us, Thiago Montero on the outside. They will try and filter into the first corner, 1-2, with Norbert Michelis between them as the 3rd of the cars. Red lights are on, and away we go. Even start from everybody. Oh dear, Rob Huff fluffed that one rather. Now, Norby was nominated as the time-setting driver, which means he should have been the 3rd into the first corner. However, he leads them with Thiago 2nd and Rob 3rd. Now, traditionally on the shorter circuits, Richard, 2 laps, it's the guy who's in 3rd place who is unlikely to overtake the 2 in front and will therefore be the last one across the line. However, here, with the 1.5 miles or 3/4, whatever it is, of dotting a her, the guy at the back will probably end up being the guy at the front by the end of the lap.
Yeah, there is that, and I think that could well be why they've gone with this way. They don't want to lose too much time off the start, so it'll be interesting to sort of see where they make the swap, but obviously that would probably be the ideal way if no mistakes are made through the lap.
Well, we have seen mistakes made by drivers before. Remember back in Paul Ricard when Rob fluffed the start and didn't get away quite quickly enough, and he was saying, tell the guys, keep pushing, you know, from a 1/2 second to a second back on the track at Paul Ricard rather. He reckoned he was still getting a tow. Here, when you're the guy at the back, actually you almost want to back off your teammates as you get out onto the Nordschleife, because you want to have as much vision of where you're going as you possibly can, more so than any other circuit, because there's so much to be taking in and so much you've got to get right, and you can make up so much on dotting a her on the autobahn that finishes the lap that actually it almost doesn't matter if you're a second behind them here. It might be a better thing. That might well be what Rob Huff's decided to do.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. I think through this section now, you've got one or two things. You need that space to be able to see, make your own lines, but you've got to put blind trust in your teammate and just follow his brake lights through the entire loop.
Through the hats and back. And Sabine Schmitz was telling us a little earlier that the Kittelbacher her that they're just approaching has been changed. She reckons it's quite a lot quicker. Nearly flat now in the GT3 cars that are the fastest class in the M24. And then you get this long, fast run through Schwedenkreuz and up towards Arenberg. Again, you know, so much the nature of the circuit, just in that one shot alone, a huge elevation changes.
And you really don't appreciate that on the camera, but there are some huge climbs and drops on this circuit. It really is like a roller coaster through the forest.
There is the Citroën team. They are coming round to start their lap.
Of course, the circuit's so big here, there's no danger of them even seeing another Honda or even hearing one.
Yeah, well, you could nearly start a dozen manufacturers' teams here. There's so much room to play with. 15.8 miles, 25.28 kilometres. It's an unfeasibly large track by any standards. Even in a properly quick road car, it's a 10-minute lap, well driven. Red lights are on for the three Citroëns. Mehdi Benani on the right is the third of the drivers in MAC3, along with Ivan Muller and Jose Maria Lopez. And as the Hondas continue on their lap, away go the Citroëns. Good start from Benani on the inside. A little better maybe than he might have been thinking. What they don't need is for him to be taking the lead, so he immediately withdraws his nose from the first corner. Muller and Lopez going into corners 1 and 2, the short version of the first corner chicane.
I think Jose was expecting to lead the pack there.
Yeah. I think Muller just closed the door on him going, no. If somebody's going to be unsighted or in turbulent air over some of these jumps, it's not me.
I think...
little rehearsal there maybe for the first and second race start.
Yeah. I think the teams have to nominate their third driver on the Friday. I think that's why Benani is here, because if you'd chosen it on the sort of form of the weekend, I think you definitely would have chosen Tom Chilton to be the third Citroën this weekend.
Norbert Mikulits pulling away from Thiago Monteiro and Rob Huff on board with Huffy. Now see how little of the road in front you can see. And we're on the run. I was going to say we're on the run down towards Adenauer. I think we still are here. Or are we on the climb back out up the other side? I think we are on the climb out from Adenauer up towards the high point at Breitscheid. One of many high points on this track. As well as the big spectator enclosure, you can see a lot of the marshals posts have got campsites beside them. Flat out, foot on the boards there, as out off the Grand Prix circuit and into the Hutzenbach come the Citroën trio. So, first lap, split one. Only lap, split one, 2 minutes 17 as they got to the chicane at the end of the Grand Prix circuit from a standing start for the Hondas. 2 minutes 8 for the Citroëns. Yeah, okay, stay like this, they're saying. So Citroën with an 8.4 second advantage from a standing start on the Grand Prix circuit alone.
That's incredible.
That's unbelievable. Honda already out of timing sector 3, which means they've got from Bergwerk through Kesselchen, and they're heading down to the Caracciola Carousel. And you saw the way that Lopez was tucked up under Muller's back bumper. Lopez is going to see what taking air away from the rear of one of the cars is going to do, and he'll let Muller find that out. Yeah, I think this is on the run out from the carousel, through her up.
Norby to slow down. Norby needs to slow down.
Don't think Norby does. Still going to get a monster toe from Norby. I think Thiago might need to speed up a little though. Yeah, look at the jumps and the crests here. This is through Wipperman, Brunchen, Flansgarten, the really demanding roller coaster ride to end them all. The cars revs going over all these little crests and jumps. Yeah, there are 3 big name jumps there, but there are half a dozen places where the car's just freewheeling in air momentarily, losing traction.
Interesting to know. Yeah, I think Norby is just slightly getting out of the throttle to allow Montero and Huff. Of course, he's got to be the last car to cross the line.
Well, he doesn't have to be. Don't have to be. That's sort of the way you've nominated it, but time is measured on whoever the last car across the line is. You know, in Paul Ricard, if Norby was the nominated driver but Rob stalled, Rob's always going to be the last car across the line. You don't measure it from whoever you said would be last. Now let's see where the slipstream works, is how close is Rob going to get? He's not got much.
Stay in position and go, go, go. Stay in position, go, go, go.
It's just 3 cars. What you say you anticipate happening and what actually happens are largely different things. Thiago is closing right up behind Norby, and Rob is now starting to reel in Thiago Montero as well. Look how much closer Thiago is behind Norby, and that might affect the 2 Hondas as they come nose to tail, and Rob is slingshotting right up behind them. Look how close they are now at the end of that mile and a bit of Autobahn compared to how far apart they were as they came out of Schwalbenschwanz. Across the line, the checkered flag, and they complete it in 8 minutes 47.9 from a standing start. That's not a bad lap either. There's a few drivers who would have liked to have got one of those from a flying start.
Exactly.
Well, Citroën were 8.4 ahead on the Grand Prix loop, 8.2 seconds ahead after Sector 2, 7.3 ahead after Sector 3. But again, as you can see, Bernani really coming up deep there under braking as they come into, well, that's out of Klostertal into the right-hander before the Caracciola carousel. Doesn't have a name there. Out of the carousel they come, and suddenly Bernani is right with them now. Did his teammates just ease it off a little bit? Did Lopez allow Muller to get away so he could give Bernani a tow? I don't think Bernani needed that much of assistance. The Dottinger Her is their ace in the hole. It's so long.
Maybe they slightly overcooked that.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult to judge the gaps, particularly on a circuit like this with so many twists and turns.
I think you just have to go hell for leather until you get to the mini carousel and make an adjustment there if you feel your teammate is too far behind.
Yeah.
But again, you know, you can come from a million miles back, as we saw last year in the races, and still hoover them up down the straight. And Bernani is well within towing distance on Dottinger Her from there.
Yeah, he's probably got the perfect gap now, actually.
Yeah. He can see where he's going. And this is the sector of all where if you are a wheel out of line, then you're in the barriers having a very big shunt. And suddenly Lopez has slowed, and Bernani is in danger of running up the back of him. Which means that if they're that close coming onto Dottinger Her, Bernani's going to end up having to pass Lopez at some stage before the final couple of corners.
Yeah, he's well within the tow there.
Yeah. However, Muller is pulling away. They're coming up. This is the swallowtail. You can see the V shape there of the 2 corners around the mini carousel, which they drop into now. So that's Schwalbenschwanz. And then this...
Please go to mix one, please.
Okay, that's full juice, surely.
Just getting ready for the very, very long straight section.
Yes, it's mix one, please. Okay.
Okay. So they're on the Dottinger Her. You can see the main road on the left of your picture.
Keep mix one until the finish line.
And the support road on the right-hand side. All right, so they're leaning it off.
Okay.
They've also got a massive amount of time in hand at the moment.
Important to save fuel. Do they run that little in MAC3 that they might be in danger of not having 3 litres in the tank for scrutineering after qualifying? Seems quite bizarre. The differential, by the way, at the end of timing sector 3 appears to be 7.3. 7.3 at the end of timing sector 4. So as you say, they can pretty much just grease their way down.
Switch off the boost and save fuel. Do some pickup.
Wow.
Belt and braces. Citroën win MAC3. No, they don't. They go to 1.5 seconds behind in second place. Honda take victory. Well,
I think that's very much a result of the fuel saving that Citroën had to get into towards the end there.
Why?
I wonder if they didn't put enough in for the refuel.
Why? Why didn't they put enough in?
Well,
they know they've only got to do 1 lap. No,
you look at the look on the pit wall. Something's gone on there. You look at the look on the pit wall. Somebody somewhere has forgotten or made an error. Maybe it was to do with Lopez's car in the winners area. I don't know.
That might, yes.
How did it go? Yeah, we finished P2. P2, 2 seconds behind Honda.
Yes, interesting that it was Pichito's radio we were hearing, not Medi's, not Ivan's, and it was his car that Marie-Pierre was trying to make sure they got the fuel into. Maybe they did short fuel it and realised that they weren't going to have enough left to have the required amount for scrutineering post-qualifying. So there's the result of MAC3 with Norbert Michelitz, Rob Huff and Thiago Monteiro claiming victory for Honda.